call the Buhl City Council meeting to order on May 4th. May the 4th be with you, 2021. Ryan, please take the roll.
Councilor Lehman. Here. Councilor Carter. Here. Councilor Marcus. Yeah. Councilor Kuechly. Here. Mayor Claridge.
Here. Okay, item 3, council additions to the agenda. Yeah, I'd like to add one thing, and I'm going to call it 1A, and we're going to do that before main letter 5A, and it's a library appointment. You should have some information in front of you there. And then I just want to make a comment. There'll be no mayor's comments tonight. The reason is I was going to comment on the construction in town, but we have our city engineer here, John Jamnick, which will give us an overview and then answer a lot of questions. I know that we're hearing a lot of questions from people in the community and things, and just about this, that, and the other thing, and we'll try to clean everything up tonight. It'll be on the screen then, so people can follow that up in another week or so. So hopefully we'll get all of that out. So without further ado, is there a motion to approve the agenda with the one addition of 1A?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Stuart. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Paul. Further comment or question? Hearing none, Ryan, please take the roll.
Councilor Lehman.
Yes.
Councilor Carter. Yes. Councilor Marcus.
Yes.
Councilor Kuechly.
Yes.
Mayor Claridge.
Yes. Now we'll go on to 4, consent agenda. The minutes, the regular city council meeting of April 20th, 2021, and the public hearing on April 20th, 2021, excuse me. Then claims, payroll number 9, $13,361.19. Payroll April 26, 2021, $23.50, and then accounts payable 4/21 and 5/4, $23,556.23 for a grand total of $39,267.42. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Also move we approve the consent agenda for April 20th and the claims of $39,267.42.
Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Stuart. Any questions, comments about the bills? Further discussion? Hearing none. Ryan, please take the roll.
Councilor Lehman.
Yes.
Councilor Carter. Yes. Councilor Marcus.
Yes.
Councilor Kuechly.
Yes.
Mayor Claridge.
Yes. Okay, now we'll go on to 1A, the library appointment. We have a vacancy on the library board. We do have a letter of interest from Linda Keller. Is there a motion to appoint Linda Keller to the library board?
Make a motion to appoint Linda Keller to the library board.
Okay, motion by Paul. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Brandon. Further comment? Hearing none. Ryan, please take the roll.
Councilor Lehman.
Yes.
Councilor Carter. Yes. Councilor Marcus.
Yes.
Councilor Kuechly.
Yes.
Mayor Claridge.
Yes. Okay, motion carried. Okay, next we'll go to 5A. And Engineer Jamnick, he'll just give us an update on the project, answer any questions. So, John, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. The Casper started on the project. We started the project last week. Road restrictions actually came off yesterday on Monday, but they did get a little bit of a head start on Pennsylvania Avenue, which is the county road, and getting that sanitary sewer done. That was probably the deepest sewer we had in town. It was almost 24, 25 feet deep in some of those digs over there. So it was a very deep line, but they're getting that wrapped up. They brought a second crew in. They're starting to do some water line on Mercer Avenue and some other things, and then they'll probably bring a third crew in. Start working on some of the restoration. They tentatively have curbs scheduled for the end of next week, the week of May 11th. Remember last fall when things got shut down, we were planning on getting the curb in and the paving done on State Street and that part of Pennsylvania and Jones and Mercer and Main Street, that whole part we wanted to get paved before they move on. And the weather didn't cooperate last fall, so they're scheduling to get the curb in.
Okay, John, I just want to interrupt for 1 second. So when you say you're going to curb, what exactly is going to be curbed now in the near future? What areas?
Focusing on State Street and Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Pennsylvania.
Everything that's been dug up so far.
Yeah,
Okay.
on Pennsylvania from Forest, going to the west down the hill to mine,
Okay.
because then the county's gonna take over, that's a different discussion item, but the county
Okay.
will take over.
You can highlight that later.
State Street, primarily State Street. There's a little bit on Culver they can do. They still got water line on Jones and some utilities on Mercer, so that was always the plan, to get Pennsylvania and State done as soon as possible.
So that's the curbing part. And then what about sidewalks? I've seen that, some questions on all things Buhl, and just that's quite a ways down the road, correct?
Well, no, the flat crew comes a couple days behind the
Okay.
curb crew. You know, so all the sidewalk, last fall, we left some of the sidewalk in, like at the post office and the bars, but that's all coming out now, and that's
Okay.
all gonna be replaced now, and,
So we're getting close.
yeah.
Sorry, the church, are we gonna take that little boulevard out of there?
The church, which church are you talking about?
Well, going south on State Street.
The Catholic.
I mean, there was a boulevard of like 2 feet. Are we gonna run the sidewalk off the curb?
On the east side, between,
On both sides, going
Be the
south of the
south
post
side.
office?
okay, that sidewalk on the west side, we weren't gonna do anything with.
Oh,
We're
okay.
leaving that in there. We're taking the curb out, cause that's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And then we were gonna leave those trees there,
Oh,
those 3, 4 big trees.
yeah, yeah.
And actually, we're gonna slide the curb over a couple feet. So when we put it back in, it won't be in the way with the existing trees there.
Yeah.
But then on the east side, between Pennsylvania and Mercer, we took a bunch of sidewalk out, the gas company did, and we've been looking at, we're gonna bring that sidewalk up against the curb.
That's
So
what I
there
meant.
won't be no
Yeah,
boulevard there.
Yeah, that is a small area.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah. I was wrong. I was thinking the other side too, John. Okay.
Then there's one pole there, so we're just gonna make the sidewalk, have to go around that pole a little bit, but that, I think we're gonna get rid of the boulevard on Mercer, north side, but that'll be down the road, that's what Trent like to do too. And then on, the same thing on, the next block too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean.
We're only putting that 6-foot curb sidewalk back in, like where the apartment and everything was.
Okay.
There was areas where it was really like 10
Yeah.
feet wide.
Yeah.
Past, Lou's Bar down that street, we didn't, we talked about not putting it that wide back in there,
Yeah,
so.
because we just put back what was there. I mean, we never added to that. There was, when we poured it years ago.
One Pennsylvania, yeah.
So we'll have sidewalk on both sides of State Street, running east and west, or
Yes.
north and south, excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for the south block on, between Pennsylvania and Mercer.
Yeah.
On the west side, we're gonna just leave that, that's where that retaining wall is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of elevated above those lots. And
Okay, yep.
There's no driveways or anything there, so it didn't look that bad, so we just thought we would
That's
just
fine.
leave that in there. And it's not being disturbed because we didn't need to dig any utilities into there. And that part on the north end of State, on the west side, past the old bank, there wasn't any sidewalk there before, so we're just putting a curb back in there.
Okay.
Just where the bank drive-through ends there, that's where that's gonna end. So yeah, all on State, the sidewalk, pretty much all, having sidewalk on both sides of the street,
Okay.
on both sides of the state.
On State Street, John, were they gonna do some subgrade repair or whatever, correction, or, last fall I know they cut it and filled it, but I mean, there was clay pumping out half the winter and.
Yeah, there's some areas that they need to work on yet. I think they got all the utilities in. I know they were gonna focus on getting the curb in and getting a class 5, but we'll have to look at that a little bit closer.
I guess that just worries me, with it starting to dry out, they meant, we can get away with just
Yeah.
dressing her up and paving it, and
Yeah.
ultimately down the road, we could have problems.
I'll pay attention to, I don't know if it will Have to meet with some other people, find all those bad spots, but I think I'll make sure everybody's know all that.
Trent, you're aware of a lot of those bad spots. I mean, you've had to deal with it all winter and spring.
I know they can be, it was, we tried to put some crushed rock in
Right.
last fall, and that's gotta come out, and
Okay,
some subcut material.
it'll be nice when it's done. Just getting there.
Yeah, so, and then even with curb the fall, end of next week, and it's kind of surprising we got it scheduled that, we might not pave around towards the end of May, early June. Put the first lift of blacktop, the
Okay.
whole paving, it has two, a base course and a second course. Want to get as much of the base course back in before we head south of Pennsylvania or other parts of town.
Well, I think the public will be very pleased if we can get that at the end of May
Yeah.
and the first part of June.
Yeah.
Because that's coming up quickly now. I mean, it's May already, so. What about, we're going to have some asphalt work done up by the water tank too on that street. That's later this summer?
On France location,
France, yes.
yeah, that water line being replaced there.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that'll be one of the projects after we get this
Yeah.
main thoroughfare done, okay.
Yeah,
How do we tie in with what the county's gonna do? Paul McDonald called me this morning. He said there was a county board meeting this morning. Paul McDonald's the commissioner, not for our area. Mike Jugovich is for us, and I've talked with Mike in the past, but as long as Paul called me early this morning, we just went through all that and explained what was going on, and he said, well, yeah, no problem, and so. Okay, just,
so, yeah, I mean, I don't know, they know the contract process, yeah.
so what happens
That
there?
change order, they want to do a change order through the city,
Okay,
and it sounded like it was going to be approved by the county board today.
Yep, it was going to the county board today, and I think needed one more step at their next meeting, then that cooperative agreement between the city and the county will come back to this council for approval, and
he said it was on their agenda.
Yep.
Okay.
And just a note for the council on just the overall project, I have had, and both Diane and I have had a few calls and complaints about the trucks hauling and driving too fast in town. That has been addressed with our engineer and the police and with Casper, so
Yeah,
we are keeping an eye on it to the best of our abilities, but we just remind residents there is a lot of traffic in town, especially with kids,
School's on for another month, or a little bit less than a month now, but
So
it's,
everybody's.
and then they'll really be out, the kids will be out in force, they'll be on their bikes and watching all this stuff going on, and so we have to be careful.
So, just a note on that.
yeah, no, good.
Questions from the council? And then Woodbridge and Whiteside are scheduled for later this summer, correct?
Yeah, all the ad alternates were awarded, which includes Pennsylvania, our grant location,
Grant, the swing,
all
okay.
the way down past the beach area. Yeah, and, the Woodridge and Whiteside. There's still a lot, they probably got about maybe 1/5 of the work done last fall in terms of the pipe
Okay.
work. They still got a significant amount of
So,
work.
so public, we're gonna be torn up for quite a while yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll be here all summer.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. Well, if we get a nice dry summer, which they're predicting, that'd be nice.
Yeah, and they've been talking about getting at least 2 crews going, maybe 3, then the restoration crews, so it'll be busy.
When's that scheduled end date on that?
And
Project?
I think we have October 1st is the substantial completion date for the entire project.
Of this year?
Final completion date, November 1st, but they want to get, and I don't think we got a time, they asked for any more time on the Pennsylvania edition.
Nope, I don't believe so. Yeah, substantial completion was October 1st of this year with
Yeah.
full completion by November 1st.
It's gonna be busy. It's gonna have to be to get to, that's an aggressive schedule.
And the county's gonna have people watching and doing everything from Pennsylvania, from Forest all the way to Wanless, so they're gonna have, and they've got a dedicated detour route, so how that works on, where we're digging, we'll get that all coordinated too, so.
I've also talked to Commissioner Jugovich, and remember, we had some residents talk about this too, but we're talking about on Forest up by the shortstop there of putting a sidewalk in there too, so that's on their 5-year plan, and we're trying to get it moved up to a 1 to 2-year plan, so we're hoping to wrap all of this stuff together and help out for the people that do use the shoulder right now to get up to the shortstop back and forth there, and put a crosswalk so it's safe up there for pedestrian traffic and all traffic, and especially for our younger citizens. Anything else?
I have a question. My water's been orange, and I've heard a lot of people in town complaining about, hey, our water's orange. I mean, is that,
Contractors.
what exactly is it, first of all?
Are you on temporary water now?
I have no idea.
Well, they were hooking up,
It's just, it's still safe to drink. It's just basically you get scale buildup with them lines, and when you get water moving and switching going on and stuff.
So it's just sediments and stuff like that out of the pipes?
So if you let your water run, it'll clear it up. But you can also just give me a call and I'll flush a hydrant and I'll take care of the majority of it.
Okay.
You still have some in your line, but if you just let it run, it'll clear up.
Yeah, because I've noticed my toilets, even, and I know a lot of people in town have been complaining about
well, they
it.
just hooked up to this hydrant and the other down below, and they're feeding residential on surface.
Oh,
And when they were doing that and hooking it up, you'll disturb the water, and
okay.
it's just
I
temporary.
don't even know when the last time we flushed hydrants.
It's been a summer, because last summer they were out there too, so.
No, it's contractors.
Yeah, and that's the thing, with contractors doing it, we won't have to do it this spring.
So people should call the city if it's continuous like that, and then we can flush something out or help them get that cleaned up even quicker than it's doing right now. But running it right now should clean up after a few minutes, couple minutes?
Yeah, well, it depends on how much disturbance there is.
Okay.
It's probably better just to call City Hall.
Okay,
And then we can just quickly flush the hydrant. It only takes a couple minutes for the water to clear up.
okay.
Depending on
It's
how
like
much disturbance.
our white toilets are stained, our bathtubs, you know.
These guys used to do it to us twice a year.
Construction, we'll come back at it again.
But so the public's aware of that though. Now call the city hall, we'll have the crew come out, flush those hydrants, and we'll try to take care of it as soon as possible. It is an inconvenience. It's part of contracting. That's just the way it goes
But
sometimes.
it is safe to drink though.
Yeah, no worries.
There's no health concerns.
Probably nothing's gonna happen now because they're hooked up.
Okay.
But if they do that on the south side of town, the south side of town will you'll see it down there then.
Well, we'll just have to, just so people know, let the city know, and we'll deal with it from there. Anything else?
I
Okay.
have one other question. On Woodbridge, is the 600 block getting paved? I'm not aware of that whole scale of that project.
Well, I asked the last time we were together about just milling that and tarring that because the curbs are
Coating
good.
it?
Huh?
From what I understand, there wasn't a top coat ever put on it. Is that true?
No, it's just,
Or how's paving work?
That goes,
Base coat?
that's, you're talking, yeah, that was, yeah, wear was never put on that.
not on that,
They put the base on,
where the new houses are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
farthest block over there.
Yeah, there's a wear coat has to be put on that. And we talked about that we had a construction, or contractors meeting here. And we talked about that, and then the street north of that, goes down by Bassings and Kiwis down there.
That Woodbridge?
It goes,
The alley behind Shortstop?
no, it goes, where Jeff Hill is,
Yeah.
it goes east. Just that street that goes to a dead end down below the hill.
Oh, okay.
Well, that needs to be done too, and John was gonna just see what it would cost for the contractors to mill that up and redo it.
Okay.
But we wouldn't do anything with the curb, because we have a half a curb there and it's fairly good. And this little street you're talking about, there's 2 pieces of curb that gotta be fixed. Otherwise, the wear coat could be put on there.
So the answer is yes to Brandon's question?
I'll have some costs
Okay.
to the council at the next.
Yeah, we should look at that. I think
could do it
that'd be fair.
in the summer.
I know there's, the people who live over there were concerned about it. They're wondering why they're paving the whole street, but they're excluding us. Well, I'm not aware of the full scale of the project, so I
Right.
figured I'd bring it.
Well, this is where we discuss it, and
Yep.
they'll come back with something for us, so.
Well, then the other reason to delay it was let the cement trucks and the other trucks use the street and then
Oh,
go
yeah.
and look at it. You know, don't do it and then let these
Rip it up.
cement trucks and tear it up again. So that was one of the reasons that kind of delayed doing that. You know, let the big trucks be done with it and then,
Answer your questions, Brendan? They're good
Yes.
questions.
Yep.
Okay, and that's good for the residents to know that too then, so. John, anything then to wrap up this discussion on this?
No.
I think it's pretty clear. Hopefully the public will gather that from the videotape of this meeting tonight, so. We just want nice weather now.
Yeah.
Not like last year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's good.
Okay, this is, it says approve or reject. Do we have anything to approve, Ryan? No, this is just information only for us and for the citizens. Okay, we'll move on to 5B. Change order number 3, storm sewer work on Pennsylvania in cooperation with St. Louis County. Ryan, do you just want to highlight that for us, please?
Yeah, so like we kind of touched on in the last agenda item, change order 3 is part of our cooperative agreement with the county and the city. Basically, through our discussions with St. Louis County and their engineers and public works department, to eliminate the need to go out for bids on that little portion of storm sewer work on Pennsylvania, which chances are, Casper already being in town is gonna be able to do the cheapest. They submitted numbers to the county, what they reviewed and things like that. So kind of what the city and the county are doing the county would like us to add their portion of the project as a change order to our overall project. And this will be part of the cooperative agreement, which will ultimately come back to the county, but they are requesting that the city approve the change order for the work on that storm sewer portion of Pennsylvania, which will include the replacement of the storm sewer plus, obviously the new road and blacktop and whatnot.
I'll make that motion.
I will support that motion to move this right along. Okay, further comments or questions from the council? This seems pretty standard.
I have a quick one. So Pennsylvania is actually a county road? Now, the county's responsible for maintenance on there? The city's responsible for utilities under it?
Well, for the water and sewer, yeah.
Yeah,
The storm sewer is like a joint,
okay.
because city water runs off from the city into the county right away, so you share the storm sewer, but
Okay.
otherwise the water and sewer is city. And Forest is a county road also.
Okay.
Actually, Forest up to Culver, and it goes out of town as a county road.
Okay.
Okay, good discussion. Further comment or question? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ryan, would you please take the roll?
Counselor Lehman?
Yes.
Counselor Carter?
Yes.
Counselor Marcus?
Yes.
Counselor Keithley?
Yes.
Mayor Clarich?
Yes, motion's carried. Okay. 5C is pay application number 4, Whiteside Avenue. Ryan, do you want to explain that to the group too? This is a bill coming in a few years
Sure.
late.
And Engineer Jamnik could probably explain this a little bit better than I can because it was before my time here even, but essentially what happened is the city did a project back was completed in 2017. Project was completed, punch list items were completed to our satisfaction. The city was withholding per our agreements and what we have to do with CDBG funds and things like that, withhold payments until we get certified payroll reports from the contractor. Well, it took them 4 years to submit what we needed. Both Diane and I talked to our auditor and things like that, this isn't money coming out of the general fund. It's already set aside for this project. We just haven't spent it. So, the auditor did recommend that we pay this, obviously with council motion, and I don't know if there's anything you want to add, John.
This will close out the project completely then?
This was the last retainage being held from
Okay.
Tony on the project, so,
It's only fair.
yeah. It's been like Ryan said, it's been there for at least 2 or 3 years, so.
And it's legally binding. It was a contract, so.
Yeah.
It's just, they're slow in billing. We didn't spend the money elsewhere, so. Is there a motion to approve pay application number 4 for Whiteside Avenue from 2017?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Stuart. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Brandon. Further comment or discussion? Hearing none. Ryan, please take the roll.
Counselor Lehman?
Yes.
Counselor Carter?
Yes.
Counselor Marcus?
Yes.
Counselor Peakley?
Yes.
Mayor Claridge?
Yes, motion's carried. 5D is the water tower. Ryan and John, are you going to lead on this, or?
Yeah, and just a note for the council somehow, D and E are the same things, so you can ignore one of them. There was some confusion between Diane and I, but,
Oh, okay.
same thing, but, from last meeting, you had the copy of, the engineering report on the water tower, which we needed to get done to be able to, submit for bonding money and things like that, and you can see within your packet that we already have some language ready to have our representative, Senator Thomasoni and Representative Stansted, introduce for us, not this session, but coming up this fall, or I should say in the spring, next spring, to hopefully get this taken care of. In the report, it laid out a number of different options. We've been trying to do our due diligence to, what's gonna be the most cost effective, what's gonna last the longest, what's gonna put the city in the best position, and, kind of more importantly, how can we find the money so we don't have to have our residents, bear the brunt of this. But turn it over to the engineer who can answer questions, give an overview.
One thing first, this does not bind us to any project. This is just trying to access money to have a project.
Correct.
Okay, just to clarify for the viewers out there so that they know what was actually going on here. This does not tie us into any project at this point, but we'll be discussing potential projects, and then the council will have to make a stand on that down the road.
Correct.
Okay.
And basically, the report looked at 4 different alternatives: rehab the existing tank, add a single pedestal tank, one multi-leg, new multi-leg tank, and then do improvements and to the ground storage facility and add some more capacity. And the recommended alternative based on a life cycle cost analysis was to construct a new 200,000 gallon pedosphere tank. Actually, there was a couple alternatives, multi-leg and pedosphere. They're close in terms of cost, so we can, shout a price that things go in the future and maybe pick one or the other, but and like you said, it's engineering report that's used by the funding agencies in the state of Minnesota. One of the next things we would do besides Ryan's recommendation for the bonding bill is get on a project priority list with the Minnesota Department of Health, to look for funding for this project too. So that application is due soon. That will you have to email that into the state this week sometime.
So we may have several funding sources to take care of this to minimize cost to the city and ultimately to its residents. And ideally, to get enough to pay for everything so that we can still guarantee the water flowage and everything like that. And then we have just to make a decision on how it's going to get delivered.
Yeah, and part of it is when we send it down to the Department of Health now, to review the report, they'll put it on the project priority list, so they acknowledge that it's a feasible and economically feasible project to do, and would help technically support bonding bill applications and things like that.
On that one, do we have to list the 3 options that we're looking at, or 4 options that we're looking at? Or we just have to say, we need to replace our water source?
Water storage facility, yeah.
Yep.
Water storage facility, okay.
Yeah, it's just basically like, in that lane, it's kind of a vague term that you have to have, some type of ducks in a row when you're asking for bonding money, or even a lot of these federal funds, which the city's still waiting on guidance from, that could be coming available. So, I mean, this report gives us flexibility that we have costs kind of narrowed down and things like that, without having, like the mayor said, locking the city into making a final decision right now on which direction we're gonna go.
Are you gonna highlight the 2, 3, or 4 options we have right now, John, or is that for a future meeting?
No, I've got them in the report. We had a cost to do the review.
I didn't bring my report with me, doggone it. So I'm kind of
We have a
just,
single leg pedestal, it's called a pedosphere tank. Something like Chisholm is a single, one leg pedosphere tank. Replacing with a 4-legged tank that you have now, all those would be 200,000 gallon tank, and then improvements to the ground storage was the most costly alternative. The rehab, and we had costs of about $250,000 to do a rehab and painting and things like that, but you don't get any salvage value out of that, In another 10, 15, 20 years, you're gonna be redoing that, so.
so it's a continuous cost.
So
You just
there's
keep
no
kicking the can down the road.
So like when you build something new, you've got salvage value in 20 years, and then you put that in the equation when you do the life cycle analysis to find what's the cheapest way to do it in the long run, so. So, yeah, repainting or rehabbing it, I mean, it is cheaper to do that, but, long term, and the tank's just gonna get older.
Yeah, eventually
Every 20 years
it's gonna be like, well, we need one now.
Yeah, and who knows if there's gonna be money available with the way things are, money's flowing around this country without any backup. So my question is, you would say that to rehab that one be 20 years we'd get? For sure, maybe 10?
Old one?
Yeah.
No.
Didn't that come with a $40,000 a year?
Maintenance.
I mean, John's done some investigating on this, so.
What's that?
Huh?
What did you say?
To redo, condition ours and paint it, or sandblast and paint it?
Well, we have a cost for it, yeah.
Well, you don't get 20 years life out of repainting it.
Not what you have there, a single pedestal, the paints, that's, the material's a lot better with, newer steel construction. Paint lasts longer than it does before.
Do we know when the last time it was reconditioned, or?
Huh?
When the last time it was repainted, or?
2010.
10?
But it's never, the reason why, if you were to repaint it is so costly is because it's got the lead-based paint. And so what costs the most is actually a full containment, because you have to contain when you sandblast all that lead paint off. That's why you don't really want to go up there and just touch it up, because the very next day after they're done, it could just delaminate in a different spot. So that's why if you were to do a reconditioning, you have to basically get rid of all that base layer.
So everything has to be sandblasted off of there then?
Yeah.
And then you have to, like Chisholm had to do that was it last year?
Mayor just did theirs for $811,000.
No, one thing I want to say is I'm not altogether sold on refurbishing the tank that's there, but I'm not for tearing it down either. I mean, it's iconic. I have no problem, as long as I know structurally it's sound, I have no problem with keeping that water tank there and then looking at other options for the water source. I know that runs hot and cold with the citizens and with former citizens. So I mean, I just want to let people know that we're just in the exploratory stage here right now. But I could see a situation whereby we keep the old iconic tank as it is, and we might build a new pedestal type storage facility. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there right now. I don't want people to think that, oh, they're getting rid of the water tank and they're gonna tear it down. No, we're not at that point right now. And I'm playing to, that's iconic for this town. I mean, you can see that all across the range.
It is, but you're still gonna have maintenance costs of keeping it. If you just let it stand there, pretty soon it's gonna look like, well, it's gonna.
It'll all delaminate.
It'll just be a rusty old tower standing there that eventually won't even have any writing on it.
Well, we may have to look for a grant, maybe it's historic, I don't know, maybe we get money that way too. I mean, I just don't wanna throw the proverbial baby out with the bathwater on this. I mean, I just, that's something this town is known for, and it has been for ever since I've been around, so. Trent, you had something to say?
Paul touched on it.
Okay, but I'm just throwing, that's my opinion. I'm not trying to influence anybody, I'm just saying that that's something we have to consider, put out there. Otherwise, we'll be holding meetings at the senior center.
That paints tanks coming off or do it for so, 500, 600,000, whatever it was. But then his yearly contract was like 45,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, is that constant fee coming out of our city coffers, yes.
So keep putting that money into it. I mean, that covers all the costs, but that's a lot of money every year for 1,000 people.
Oh, I know. It's $500,000 over 10 years, so.
Initial amount, and then every year you have to pay it?
Yeah, you just like putting it in a bank, so next time it needs painting, they'll do it then.
Oh.
So that option is actually, you can not do that option.
Yeah, right.
You don't, it's basically that option is essentially an insurance policy.
Yeah.
So they're constantly checking on it. And
Or else go in,
problems.
5, 6 years, put in big bucks again to have it completely painted again and, so I don't know.
No, there are products out there too, where you can just encapsulate what you have, that they're thinking they'll hold that and they'll maintain that for quite some time. I mean, if we're gonna go down this road, we're gonna have to look at all those options. No, that was another option, especially in schools, who had, almost everybody had lead paint and everything like that. Sometimes there was layers of stuff you could put on there would encapsulate, stop it from the chipping, the peeling, everything else, and hold it. I know at the National School District, we did that in both swimming pools, things like that, and that's about as rough of temperature extremes you could get as in a swimming pool, with humidity off and on, and then in the summer when you drain the pool. I mean, so there are a lot of issues there that I think we need to explore some of these things in depth, but I just want to, I don't want to end up with a group in the town and save the water tank. We want to be out in front of that discussion. Trent?
Just because we're throwing out the word lead paint and everything, just so people know there's no lead paint on the inside of the tower, so it's just the outside. It doesn't cause threats. Department of Health monitors all that stuff, and that was
epoxy paint, I guess.
Actually, and all the training I ever had on lead paint removal, and we did a lot in both school districts all 3 school districts I was at. There's a small amount of lead paint even in the paints that are created today. So it's not like, it's just that you go back in the 20s and 30s, it was, it would chip, and if young children would eat or chew on that, then you could have serious problems. No, that's the way it was.
just so people know, it's not in our water system.
No. But it's there outside externally. I don't know what the environmental concerns are. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry, John, for interrupting.
That's about all I had, and then it'd be put, the new one would be put in the same general location as the other one, because all the existing infrastructure's in place there.
And we're in no rush. This doesn't have to be done within 6 months or 12 months or 18 months. So the thing is, we're trying to get the financing put together to give us options to then look and see what we want to do.
Yep.
And I think that's great. And that's a great report, by the way, John. It's on my kitchen table. I'm sorry I forgot to bring it along. So, questions from the council? Or Trent, or... Boy, you're getting off easy, John. Nothing else? Now, do we have to take action on this, correct?
No, I think it can just be informational again.
No, we're going after the money. We have to approve the project.
Don't you gotta send that application?
Yeah, we have to, as a city council, we better approve that we're moving forward with this for the bonding. I think get it out there, because Gary can work miracles
I
sometimes.
believe we did that last meeting.
Oh, we did?
When we approved the report. I mean,
Yeah, we were approved.
there's no harm in making another.
But you're sending an application out to the Department of Health or something?
Yeah, it's the project.
Public facility.
I think we should have a motion to direct Ryan to send these to all these funding sources that the city council has approved
Yeah.
moving forward with the project, so that we can access the Department of Health, the bonding bill next year, and maybe it might get discussion this year in some committee, you never know. Because they come out to look at these projects
Yep.
before next year, so.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, with Gary Cervanek and Deb, we've already been doing the legwork by getting
A lot of work's
language
been
written
done.
and reaching out to our legislators to, make sure we're at the front of the line for what we need to get done, so.
And water is a hot topic right now, not only in our area, but throughout the United States, so. Is there a motion to direct Ryan to apply to all of these necessary funding sources?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Brandon, is there support?
Support.
Support by Paul. Further comment or discussion?
Yeah, we have it.
We have it there?
Last meeting.
Well, let's have it another one.
Okay.
Well, we said Department of Health, we were talking about bonding, I think, the last time. This opens it up for anything that's out there, right, Ryan?
Well, it says
Yeah.
directed the city clerk to work with the city engineer and costing group to formulate and submit a funding proposal for the project.
Okay, but we're not always gonna go through costing, technically.
Okay.
This covers anything outside of Gary and the costing group.
This covers it again.
Okay, further comment or discussion? Hearing none, Ryan?
Counselor Lehman?
Yes.
Counselor Carter?
Yes.
Counselor Marcus?
Yeah.
Counselor Keighley?
Yes.
Mayor Clarych?
Yes, motion carried. Now we'll move on to F,
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Fire Hall expansion discussion. The Taj Mahal.
I'll just kind of give a brief summary.
Yes, would you please?
So, as you know, the fire department and the city, I should say, just got their new fire truck in, so I think Josh and Ted can touch on that as well. But this, with the new truck, it kind of came the discussion of looking at expansion of the fire hall and making, with the primary goal, as we've been working towards getting the fire department all in one location and Meds one over there, which, as I know, it's been going smoothly and things like that. The council did authorize Architectural Resources to come out and kind of take a look, and they put together an engagement letter for us, which was in your packet and whatnot. I've been working on different funding options. I'm still waiting on some guidance from the federal funds that were allocated from the federal government, but they're not quite out yet, but I do expect at least some money to be available. We've taken some steps, the mayor, along with Gary, Jeff, and myself, we put together a letter and sent it to Chair Jugovich, along with Commissioners Nelson and McDonald, just kind of putting it in their ear, because the county will receive a big allocation from the federal government as well, with maybe some funds that this would apply. One thing, talking to Architectural Resources, if it's the council's desire or they want to get this done this year, that's something that should be probably discussed, because we will have to get some soil testing done over there and things like that, just to make sure we're in compliance, and we don't have any major outstanding issues. I know both Josh and Ted have put a lot of effort and thought into what the department's needs are gonna be currently and in the future. So I think it might be best to let the chief and the assistant chief just kind of give an overview of where we are with the new fire truck and kind of touch on their ideas for the expansion.
Perfect. Do you want me up there or can I stay here?
You can stay.
Right there is fine.
So yeah, thank you, Ryan, for that. It's kind of funny that this came up after the water tower tank because it's a lot like that. We can keep kicking the can down the road, or we can pull the trigger and build the hall that should have been built the first time that went up. So where we're at right now is we're out of room. We're out of room in the old hall. It didn't fit any new apparatus that we would have made. We did what we did to get the rescue truck in there, and that was tight enough, let alone a full-size engine. With the addition of our new engine, now we have 2 engines and 2 stalls, and we are cramming the rescue truck in the middle so we can be out of one hall and not have to respond to City Hall, Whiteside, wherever, if there is a fire call. Again, the trade-off, Med's one over in one building, fire department in the other. It's been working out fantastic. Our office here in City Hall, again, we're grateful for that space there. That works out well, but we still need a spot to train, and we know that we live in some cold climate, and 7-8 months of our training needs to be done indoors, and this would give us a potential for some of that room to do it. Let alone, we would have proper parking for our trucks. We could look at, being able to do our rig checks inside on a 30 below day, or because as with new equipment and the fire, we got to make sure that we're doing that whether it's nice out or not. This is something that now the members maybe wouldn't have to dread so much because we can do some of that indoors instead of having to pull everything out on the apron.
Same time we quit parking on the north side of the building.
Parking on the north side, we're running out.
Have somewhere to go.
Couple other things, is as we grow as a department and we're trying to gain more volunteers, we're running out of room for our gear cards. We got grants for new gear. The council approved us to get new lockers. We have the right gear, the right lockers now, and now we're cramming them into a room because we have no room. So they are still not going around the gear like it should be. I invite anybody to take a walk over there now. We do have the 2 trucks parked in there with the rescue in the middle. I think a quick walkthrough will kind of show you how tight it is. As far as why we want to go with the size we did, again, this is looking to not have to do this again in 10 years, blow out another wall, and we got a grant for a side-by-side, or if we get a grant for a water rescue unit for the pits that are being utilized, now we have a little bit of space there to store it. Instead of just building one stall, which then in a couple of years we could be back to this same conversation.
What are you looking at, 2 stalls? Is that, 1,500 square feet doesn't seem like a big ask. It doesn't seem like a lot of space.
It's not when you consider what we're going to utilize in that space. The biggest reason we want to go with a 14-foot door, $300,000 truck. We want to keep it like new. A 14-foot door is the best. On the side of that will be some training tables. Another little pod will be our gear, which everything will be an open floor plan, so it'll be easy enough to get to.
Is that, now, looking at the drawing right in front of me here, is that the area you're describing now right to the left of the 2 trucks, the 3 bays?
So as you're looking at it, be actually going off to the right side.
So is this photo the actual?
I don't know, is it?
Let's see which photo you got here.
It is my drawing.
It's the letter from the RI.
Okay, yep.
That is the layout?
So yeah, that left would incorporate some tables for training, along with, our training stuff. The lockers would be the small pods. This allows us to move our air cascade system that we have in the back, which wasn't a problem when we had the ambulance in there. Now parking 2 full-size trucks were bumpers right up to the air cascade system. That will allow us to move that over to properly be able to, and safely be able to fill our SCBA bottles. And again, by keeping that open over there, then we're not locked in, so if we have to, move something and put it side by side in there or something for the fire department, we'll have that actual.
What's this?
room. With a 14-foot door, we'll be able to swing in and out of that.
This is where
as
our
well.
gear
This is our existing building
This is
here,
a-
right?
Is this exist, what?
utility room. and this
Take
is
a line and draw a line between the two big fire trucks, that's where the existing building is now today.
Yeah.
Put a bathroom
Yeah.
over here.
Oh, okay.
So it's that fire truck and that open space.
This is a bathroom, utility room.
In between.
Right now, currently?
Yeah.
This is the
This
old,
is where,
See, where I'm screwed up here now is,
this.
I'm thinking this is the front, down here, okay.
this is the front.
So this is what you're gonna add for training and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't understand this
By looking at it,
drawing.
no.
Well, now I figured it out.
Yeah.
I had the back of the building as being the front now.
Okay.
So that gives you more than adequate training room space and storage space for your locker and stuff like
Training,
that.
storage, Future development,
And it's safely for to fit those in there, and then you have that space to put that air.
yep, and this will allow us to have a full access 360 around each truck to, again, keep up on the equipment checks. If we get a fire in the middle of winter, we go put out a fire and we're hauling frozen hose back. We need a spot to hang and dry that hose, so partially on this back wall will be a zigzag hose dryer.
That was my question, where do you guys?
Because we talked about, you see a lot of departments with hose towers now, well, there's an added expense, so, again, much like the truck, we're grateful that you guys approved it, but we are conscientious about money we spend, and, that, for the truck we got at the price we did, I think we're pretty proud of it. And it's the same with this haul we're not looking for the Taj Mahal, but we are looking to only do this once.
Okay, well, I misunderstood how the building was laid out, so that the stuff on the right was existing there, so, okay, that's fine. So this meets all your needs for quite a while,
And
right?
then the recommendation, I know when Ryan was talking and going over and looking at a lot of this stuff too, it brings that extra bathroom in to put us up to code. Then that space, if it ever did need to be used, whether food shelf handing out on a cold day, or if there was a natural disaster in Buhl, or even a house fire displacement, 30 below night, we would have that spot now where we could at least have the family go and sit in warmth while the Red Cross is making hotel arrangements and such.
Good for Santa, too.
Good for Santa.
Okay, I understand this better. It's pretty nice, don't get me wrong. And do you think, Architecture Resource Court is $225,000, but I've had bids go out too before, and all of a sudden it comes in double what we're going out for. Do you think that seems accurate too? Because you'd have a lot to say, you had a lot of input with this, with AR and with the city and.
Yeah, and
Okay.
That might be something Engineer Jamnik could speak to as far as the numbers and what he kind of, for the fire hall.
What type of building or addition is it? Is it a precast like we have, or?
So we're
Like a
gonna do
whole
the brick on
building?
the front still.
Brick will go across the front again, and I think on the north side, Ryan, we talked about leaving out the option to expand, but just because
Whatever walls.
Yeah.
whatever was there now is just gonna be kicked out.
Well, that keeps costs down too.
Yeah. So I was actually gonna go the cheaper route on the front, but to make it look right on the front,
I think, yeah, it should.
Yeah,
Well, you can use fake brick look too, you don't have to.
yeah. But we didn't put any water on that side, we didn't put anything over
Okay.
there, we don't need it on that side.
How deep is the building?
30,
39 feet on the inside.
39.
The truck is how long? Trucks are how
new
long?
truck is 33. 33.
It gives you a little bit of room there.
Change, yep.
A little bit.
Not much.
No.
It's pretty,
But it's perfectly doable. Right now, that extra 6 feet is being tied up with shelving, air cascade system, so that bay, 39 feet long with just a bit will be adequate.
So the addition's gonna be 39 by 30,
40 by.
36.
36.
I think that's what we came up with, is 36,
Or
To the
40,
north?
yeah.
and roughly this is called 40 deep because of the outside.
If you put a 14-foot door in, I'm not trying to suggest spending more money, but it just doesn't seem that big. Doesn't seem like
It's not, but I mean, I think, other than adding, whether it be a raft boat or if we were fortunate enough to get a side-by-side through a grant, the two engines and our rescue truck is gonna be what Buhl will need.
Could the side-by-side fit in where the smaller truck is?
And we could stack those.
Yeah, okay, I mean,
side-by-side behind it.
I would certainly hope you'd still try to go out and try to get a piece of equipment like that. I think that would be great.
Absolutely, yep.
You could.
We have plenty of ATV accidents around this area that.
Just had one the other day.
Yep, so. But yeah, like Ted was saying, we're not pulling extra water over, we do have to put the floor drain in for the new truck stall. We're really going minimal on the exterior. We're not looking at doing windows, extra doors. We will add a man door over on the corner because there's already a cutout in Forest Street. That is all the city property there. It would also allow our members now, if there is a fire, especially in the wintertime when these guys need to be out plowing, if we have 10 vehicles sitting out there, now we pull off into the yard and they're able to plow their streets. We're able to come back from a fire call and not be buried. And, it's just, we have the space there to utilize that for the fire department.
How big of a lot do we own there?
To the alley, that driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes.
Okay, that was Mrs. Ambrosich's old garden there. So you go right to that, that was next to Mike and Andy, Mike to Ambrosich's there. Yeah.
We have a sewer line in there.
Okay, yep, okay, so that's a pretty,
It's a
okay.
nice, yeah.
So you'll have plenty of room for parking there and just,
Yeah.
okay. And there's trees there that have to come out or
There
something?
would be trees that would have to come down.
Yeah, they gotta come out of there. And we never ran utilities on the north side. It all comes from the west side because of that reason. So at least we thought of something 30 years ago. Never thought of much, but.
Well, that seems like it'd be nice if we had a little bit more length,
Yeah.
but that would be astronomical to do that.
And we talked about it, and our thing was too is, again, and I'm not trying to pat anybody here, but the city crew does a great job of keeping that plowed out. Now they can continue blasting through the whole front instead of having it. That, if we came out to the street more was our hope. The building lies here, we'd come deeper here with the new stalls, push it out towards the street more. That's gonna be a nightmare for snow drifting,
Yeah.
snow removal, everything. So
Okay.
that's why we decided on to be straight across. And we'd go wider, but not as deep.
I like that you have a little bit more room for beading. I like the idea that you can train inside.
Yep.
And then this hose drying will all be inside too then?
Yep. We'll be able to care for it, and again, it's a big ask, I realize, but, from here, the department's gonna be sitting in equipment and gear and all that. I mean, we're sitting in really good shape now for the.
Do you need to buy any other equipment that we have to set up in there to help you or no? Or is that something maybe you have room for it if we do
went
need
with
to?
our lockers already,
Okay.
hoping to get to this point one day. I mean, we're pretty much ready to rock and roll.
Well, buying the new truck, we have to do this. We don't have a choice, so.
It'd be nice to, we'll keep it looking better if we do.
And I think we have a good chance to get a good portion of grant money for this too, so I'm hoping anyway, so.
Right now, we have an engine, we have two stalls, and we have an engine in each one, right? And that rescue truck is parked in between them.
In the middle, yep.
So in order to get that rescue truck out, you have to pull an engine out
Yeah.
and try to work that thing out.
Yep.
It takes time.
I'm kind of glad he brought that up because I neglected that fact. So the rescue truck, a lot of big departments, they have the chief vehicle or battalion chief vehicle. Page goes off, they get there, a couple guys jump in, go scene survey, figure out what you need, etc. That's how we utilize our rescue truck in Buhl, whether it be Stuart or myself or Ted and myself or whoever. The senior guys, when they get there, they jump in that rescue truck and they get on scene to see what's going to be needed, where you hook a hydrant, etc. We lost that now by having that in the middle because it's.
That truck's gotta be first out to
Yeah,
get there to have eyes.
because we don't roll the engine unless you have enough manpower on it, and that's where if it takes somebody else a couple more minutes to come, we can be doing all that scene size up, establishing what we need, and then boom, you fill your engine. Then the next group comes in, gets their that's when your second engine comes out. So it's a tiered response no matter what department you're on, and that's what we're hoping to be able to maintain again.
Our only hang-up now is how soon do you need this, and we can't get it quick enough, I don't think, because we're dependent on the money, but I think hopefully that, I'd like to see if we couldn't start that yet this year. I don't know, Ryan, I mean, you're gonna have a lot to say about that, you know, where we're applying and how we're applying and.
Yeah, I mean,
And what's available, that's the next big thing.
Yeah,
I think my recommendation of the council would be, it sounds like something we need to do and the council wants to do. I think the first step, because there will be we're gonna have to do some soil testing and things like that.
What's that, sorry Ryan, what's that soil testing for?
Basically, Department of Health. I mean, the state regulations say you have to have the soil sample submitted to the state for review and things like that.
See what's underneath there.
Yeah.
If there were any gas tanks around there, you know, who knows? You know, that used to be a bakery way back in the day.
Clay.
Or if you build,
There's clay there.
or if you build, then it eventually don't
yeah.
shift and
Yeah.
then your building's split or, yeah.
Okay, alright, sorry.
And we have to call in, I forget the name of that company. John, we worked with them, we did the school and stuff before in the past. So.
Yeah, there's firms that do drill holes and get, you know, so when they design the building, they, like, you have to take the dirt out, or how to design the footing and stuff like that, that's.
John, you're very familiar with that. What do you think it would cost to get that area?
Soil borings?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe only 4, you know, mobilization, you know, $3,000-4,000
Okay.
is typically what it.
Well, we have to do it. We have no choice, so.
Yeah.
Well, it's just part of the project. That's all.
And we should do that, we could do that anytime, correct?
Well,
Or is there a timeline when you have to?
I think you can do it anytime, but it just kind of helps, you know, it might.
I mean, that would be included in architectural resources fees. They'd go in and do all the kind of pre-testing and stuff. I mean.
In their $18,000 fee?
Correct.
Okay,
I mean,
not a
plus-
problem.
Plus the principal. So my recommendation, if the council wishes to proceed with this, obviously I'm gonna do, and the city's gonna do all we can to secure as much grant funds and
Yep.
things like that. You know, we have some other pockets of money that are available if necessary, but I guess my recommendation would be to approve the professional design service proposal from ARI to kind of set the wheels in motion and start getting some of this preliminary drawings done, soil samples, things like that.
Okay, is there a motion to that effect? Then we can have more discussion after, but let's get a motion on the floor.
I'll make that.
Motion by Paul, is there support?
I'll support.
Support by John. Okay, further comment or questions or discussion, and then we'll take a vote on this, so.
I have a question, is this ARI outfit, is this something that went out for bid from multiple contractors, or is this just?
I mean, there's only so many groups like this up here that do
Okay.
this work. We've worked with Scott Sasala in the past.
We don't have to go out for quotes on services.
Okay, well, I was just curious, I mean, you know, they come and give you this amount.
Yeah.
How are you supposed to know unless you have something to compare it to? I mean, that's my thoughts, I don't
I
know.
think there's only 2 firms in the immediate area right now.
It acts very similar to like our engineer. So
Okay.
it's that professional service where they're, you know, not necessarily doing they're doing kind of the legwork for the city where it doesn't require multiple requests for proposals.
I was just curious, because it, you know, if somebody brought me a bid and I know nothing about it, my only way of knowing anything about it is to get a couple of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
The key part's the bidding.
yeah.
That's where we want to make sure that your architectural firm has a pretty good grasp of what they put in and a rough idea of what construction costs are going to be, but you never know. You know, some years they're hungry,
Oh, yeah.
corporations are hungry, they're lean, they're looking. In other years, they have so much work that they throw a higher number out there. So we just got to hope for that. But that seems reasonably priced. Very good explanation. Thank you, gentlemen. Just when I first looked at it, I thought we were only going to have one stall. Then I'm looking, and then I saw the picture, and I was looking at it backwards a little bit. So, but I think I like the response time for that one piece of machinery too, and then for training and. Okay, looks good to me. Further comments or questions? Ryan, anything else? No.
What's our number, Ryan?
So,
This 225 is our total, right?
yeah, so what architecture, I mean, that could vary a little bit, but what Architectural Resources did to come up with that $225,000 price tag for the expense, I mean, they work with how many different contractors, and they reached out to a variety of different contractors on, material costs, on labor costs, and they were comfortable with around that number. That's how that number came about.
You can't bid material costs right now, they're so
No, it's
outrageous that.
ridiculous.
It's just like John puts out an estimate on
Yeah.
everything we've done in the last year and a half, and
Oh, and
then you get
it
your
has to
bid.
be adjusted.
Well, no, then you get the bid, and then you use we use the cheapest bid.
Sometimes the bids
Most responsible.
Which
come in
Architecture
less, sometimes
Research just
they're
comes up
higher.
with an estimate, that's
Yeah.
all.
What their best estimate that they can do, and I'll tell you what, when we built the new school over there, we were budgeting 28, 29 million, it came in at 34. We had to cut back. We're not cutting back on this. We're gonna have to go forth with what we have, and it might take some money out of our pocket, but hopefully that the grant money we have will suffice.
Yeah.
So,
But I think you guys did a great job of not, going for the Taj Mahal, or going huge and hoping.
Still
you
the
got
Taj
half
Mahal
for it,
to me. But it'll
To me,
be
it
a-
doesn't seem big enough.
It's a workable Taj Mahal, how's that?
We like our taxes cheap too, so.
I don't know, we're not gonna hopefully raise taxes with this either, so.
So here it says currently the fire department has approximately 82,000 in designated funds. So is that being used towards this?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It was just, I just wanted to give the council a number of what we, if needed, what we kind of have available in.
Okay.
We need some reserve funds for them who knows what can come up in the future.
We're gonna try to secure
Enough funds to cover
the
it.
whole
Yeah, we're gonna gun for everything.
Yeah, I mean, the city will have a little flexibility. We do have some money, from the federal government coming directly to the city of Buhl that, we have thoughts on, whether it's the city hall here, can be portions going other places too. It's kind of depending where we can get money to offset expenses.
Public safety's a hot button right now too,
Oh, it's very important.
so.
Just one more question, maybe Josh and Ted, you can, as far as I know, we got the truck, there's not really any major purchases for the fire department in the near future.
We've hit a lot of check boxes in the last 5 years, so, yeah, we're doing well.
So, and what's nice for the fire department and the city as well, we do have lease money, a constant flow of, a decent chunk of change coming in from Menzwan on the lease of the fire hall and things like that.
But our goal is to get it paid for through grant. By grant, excuse me.
That's my job.
You bet it is. Okay, any further comments, questions? If not, Ryan, please take the roll.
Counselor Lehman?
Yes.
Counselor Carter?
Yes.
Counselor Marcus?
Yeah.
Counselor Kuechly?
Yes.
Mayor Claridge?
Yes, motion carried. Good job, gentlemen. Hopefully we can get that up this year yet.
Yeah, hope. But again, thank you all for the support.
Like I said, it's 30-year, just like the grader, it's the 30 years is up.
Yeah,
Good luck with the next council in 30 years.
I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, well, Ryan, then you better make sure we can do this right now. We're on now to 5G, transfer of funds for the grader. And it's a motion to transfer $75,000 from Fund Number 401 Capital to Fund Number 101 General Fund for the down payment on the new grader. Ryan, do you want to just make a little comment on that?
This is just standard procedure. Anytime there's a transfer of funds between accounts, the council should approve that. So as the council decided to put $75,000, use $75,000 out of the capital for street equipment, this is just a transfer out of that fund into the general fund too.
We approved that last meeting, correct?
Yep, correct.
Okay.
So this is just a motion to transfer.
Is there a motion?
Make motion to transfer $75,000 out of the 401 capital fund to the 101 general fund.
Okay, is there support?
Support.
Support by Brandon. Pretty straightforward. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. Ryan, please take the roll.
Counselor Lehman?
Yes.
Counselor Carter?
Yes.
Counselor Marcus?
Yes.
Counselor Kuechly?
Yes.
Mayor Claridge?
Yes. And now we'll move on to 5G, transfer funds for the fire truck. Boy, you guys are in the middle of everything tonight. Okay, it's a motion to transfer $200,000 from fund number 233, ambulance, to fund number 101, general fund, for the down payment on the new fire truck. And we discussed this at the last meeting too. Is there a motion to approve this transfer?
Motion.
Motion by Brandon, is there support?
Support.
Support by John. Further comment or question? Once again, standard same rationale as the previous motion. Ryan, please take the roll.
Counselor Lehman?
Yes.
Counselor Carter?
Yes.
Counselor Marcus?
Yes.
Counselor Kuechly?
Yes.
Mayor Claridge?
Yes. Okay, holy smokes, we're getting to the end here. 5I, councilors' comments. Paul, I'll start with you.
Nothing tonight.
Okay, Stuart, you're up.
Do you have any problems with the recycling bins?
No, the only problem that exists at the moment is just the glass bin still over at the school. And that's just, G-Men's Recycle didn't have the truck in order to recycle or move it because it's a smaller bin. And so that's coming up, it should be moved within a week here. So I know it's kind of a pain for the residents at the moment because glass is over here while everything else is over there, but they'll be.
In the long run, it'll work out, and I've understand you've put some class 5 down or some mill feed.
Mill feed, but
Yeah,
we'll put fabric underneath it so
Perfect.
when the trucks go on there, it doesn't.
and eventually we'll have fence on that back part so stuff's not blowing all over, and we'll have a gate and a fence and cameras.
Temporary snow fence up until we.
Perfect.
decide
Great job.
fence.
I mean, that happened like bang. So, thank you, Brandon, for posting. I had Ryan, that you're the quickest way to get that out there, so. I mean, otherwise, it could have been, we could have got a lot of phone calls on that one, so.
And then also, there will be cameras being put up, just have to get that, guy to get into town.
There's a light stand right there too, and talk about lighting that up, so you light up that whole area.
Perfect, okay. So the more security we have there, so we have less problems with illegal dumping, the better. Okay, Stuart, anything else?
No, that's-
Yeah, you have one more thing.
What?
It's official now. Rams, the director,
Oh,
I think you should acknowledge, Steve's done such a great job for the Iron Range.
the Rams board that I sit on, and the mayor is the
Mayor's-
alternate.
Yeah,
Steve Georgie put in his letter of resignation, and so did the receptionist or bookkeeper. So
oh, Lois Roskowski.
yeah, so they're gonna be a new change on the board, and
It's a job for you, Stuart.
so that's about it.
Okay. Brandon,
Valuation notices for property taxes payable in 2022 were sent out recently. Buhl was reappraised. Is that county assessment?
Yeah, this is, in the informational item I just put in, this is just kind of a note for the council that, residents will be starting to see their valuation notices for property tax bills and estimated market value payable in '22. There might be some questions, the residents can address those concerns first by contacting the assessor's office. This is all in their valuation notice. It's posted down at the post office as well, and will be in the paper coming up. So if residents have questions, they should contact their assessor first. If they don't agree with the answer their assessor gave them at that local board of appeals meeting, which the council is the authority and has the power to change values and whatnot, or consider based on the facts. It's just basically a note if the council or residents are wondering what's the process, that information is on the notices, and just for the council, just a reminder that that meeting is coming up on May 20th.
And they're gonna be through Zoom or?
Yep, it will be, the council will be in person. I believe the notices stated that written appeals were preferred just because of COVID, but it will be at the senior center so residents can appeal in person if they wish.
May 20th from 10 to 11.
Yeah. And just to know for the council, that is a full hour meeting. We need to be in the meeting from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock.
You need a quorum, correct?
Correct. Quorum.
I know I will be there, so.
I don't know if I can make that one.
I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just basically information because everybody would have got those letters.
And then people in the past were able to talk, but they're recommending that you mail something into the city hall to do that. If you wish to challenge or question it.
They do that reappraisal pretty much every year or something.
No, not every year.
It's usually every 2 to 3 years.
Like last year, was it last year or the year before?
The year before.
They reappraised a bunch of people and we had quite the...
Well, they were in some this past summer.
Well, yeah, but they said they won't go into houses. They went on the street and they did everything on a visual.
Yeah.
And they said they were not gonna enter homes.
Yeah.
That doesn't, yeah.
That's what she was telling me. I do have one other thing. When the city receives a building permit, or who enforces our building permit status? I mean, if somebody doesn't pull one, what?
Essentially, I'm the zoning administrator. If someone doesn't pull a permit, we send them a fine for not pulling a permit.
Okay, we have somebody who addresses that.
Yes.
And it's in the books. It's not, we're not making it up, it's.
Well, no, yeah, I just.
It's an ordinance.
Question, yes. Well, you're supposed to, obviously.
Yes, I mean, if you're redoing a roof, putting up a fence, the permits are minimally priced.
I agree.
You still need a public permit and there's no,
And who should be getting that? Either the contractor or the homeowner or?
Contractor.
The contractor should. Okay, I just want to get that clear.
Watch that in your contract with your contractor.
Yeah.
Because some do and some do not.
Yeah,
Because if something goes wrong with what they did, if you get the building permit, they say, well, that's not mine.
Yeah.
You get it.
So it's to protect our citizen. Yep.
Okay.
Good points, Brandon.
and then those fees that the city charge, we pay a building inspector to go over, new house plans or this or that, so that, those help offset the cities and therefore taxpayers' expenses too. So, if we notice someone doesn't get a building permit, yes, we do send them a fine along with, you need to fill this out and pay it. So there's not, there's no option, there's not a second chance to pull one next time. We do what we can to make sure everybody's doing it, but we're a small staff too, so.
Yeah, well, that's what I was asking, like, who, do we have somebody who drives around once in a while and watches for that? Because,
the guys do, I do, counselors mentioned it, so-and-so get, everybody should be playing by the same.
exactly, same
rules.
standards for everybody. That's all I got.
John,
Me and Trent went up to look at, we put a slide hill on that entrance coming into town over there. And Trent actually had a good idea, because they're stockpiling or piling up dirt up here. Is where we talked about putting a parking lot, we can actually start the slide hill and have the contractors make a pile on the north side of the old exit coming into town, and they would come off that and then down into the, where the exit was.
John, who owns that property?
We do.
We do?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not the state, so we don't have to get a right of way or something like that, okay?
And then actually what he came up with is we'd be staying north of being the county right away.
So
it would.
So what would be the next step, gentlemen? What would you like to do?
Well, nothing, we just have the contractors fill in. They'd be going a little bit south of where their dirt is, and it makes, kind of like establish a parking lot. And then to have them kind of make a mound on the east side of that parking lot, and then, with a cap, you can make the hill.
I'm all for this, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we should really have city approval to do that. But then also, I think we should have somebody look, so we don't make it too steep, so we don't add liability to us.
I mean, we'll establish that. I mean, that's not,
Well, I'd like to have somebody just look at it and tell us, okay, here's what we recommend would be the
well,
trajectory.
let's get the dirt over there first, and then we can,
You can always grade it
we
to
can
them,
always
yeah.
take the cat and
Okay.
get our pitch and our little banks and everything.
How long would you like that to run for, roughly?
3 miles.
Yeah.
Oh, Kinney, yeah, start, you'll end up in Kinney, right?
A few jumps, yeah.
They go to pump once and, okay, let's go home.
Okay.
Is there somebody who can tell us that? What's the,
John, what would we do, I mean,
long
I'm
as
just
they-
asking,
Okay.
you wanna make it too steep, and it's gotta be, so that they're not just all bunched up and smashing into each other too, I mean,
is there a standard on?
and what kind of maintenance, no, I don't
The
know.
one in Hibbing and the one in Cloquet, I mean,
They're just wide open.
steep.
Locate's
Yeah.
huge, yeah.
You know, and I don't think we're gonna go that steep.
We should talk to our insurance
We'll have a longer
too
run than
about
maybe
that.
we'll-
Minnesota City.
Okay, Ryan, if you just wanna drop a line to the League of Minnesota Cities.
Yeah, I don't see an issue starting to pile dirt
No, I don't have a problem with
by
that.
any means, and I think it can be brought back to council if, as long as we can
Well, you have
make
to
it safe and not.
be careful, you're gonna see all kinds of dirt bikes flying off of that thing, and some other things too, so we've gotta watch a little
So
bit.
I think, once Casper gets on, until we can, we'll have to put some do not enter signs.
And that's whatever,
So,
okay,
well, I'll do some more research on that.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna have a lot of dirt, and they're running out of dirt piles going up behind the curling club.
well, you guys will talk to Casper then, okay? I look forward to
Trent's
watch
got
that happen.
three small kids, so he's gonna fix it up. It's gonna be nice.
It's gonna be
mean,
curved so that they, like a
There's really
luge.
nothing in the contract saying we have to find a place for them to put the dirt, is there, John?
No.
So if we,
They're responsible for getting it.
yeah.
This helps them out.
It's up to them.
We'll charge them.
Yeah, I know, but that's a low
No, I'm
spot.
teasing.
It's kind of like a future development
No,
area.
that's fine.
So that's why we're filling that in.
Okay,
I'm just, yeah.
well, that's smart, that's good,
It
okay.
gets to be the point where, well, it's not really our responsibility to find them a place to dump.
No, but we're utilizing.
That's fine, I don't know, yeah, that's good. As long
Okay,
as it doesn't
benefit.
become a problem.
okay, anything else, John?
No.
Okay. Once again, no mayor's comments tonight. John, I want to thank you. That's a pretty good report. Hopefully now people can tune in and get an idea of what's going to be done next and future work, and that the rough date to get this done is October 1st and November 1st, if nothing else. Weather permitting, I mean, that we found out the hard way that way, but and they're going great guns right now, and if they're going to add even more crews, that's wonderful. So that's all I have to say on that. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Paul, is there support?
Support.
Support by Brandon. Ryan, please take the roll.
Counselor Lehman?
Yes.
Counselor Carter? Yes. Counselor Marcus?
Yes.
Mayor Clary?
Yes. Meeting adjourned, 7:50.